Imagine a world where the most sought-after commodity isn't oil or gold or data. It's a reddish-brown metal, pulled from the earth and transformed into the tools of civilization and the weapons of war. This was the Bronze Age, a period defined by its alloy of copper and tin. But the tin was rare, scattered. The copper? That came from one singular powerhouse island. A tiny, sun-drenched in the Mediterranean that became the engine of empires. I'm Ibnul Jaif Farabi, and this is Echoes of the Ancients. To understand Cyprus's power, you have to picture the Bronze Age world. From around 3300 to 1200 BCE, from the palaces of Mycenae in Greece to the temples of Egypt and the bustling ports of the Levant, everyone needed bronze. It was the absolute cutting edge, and copper was the essential, heavier ingredient. Cyprus didn't just have some copper. Its very soul was made of it. The name Cyprus itself is thought to derive from the Latin cuprum, for copper. The island was quite literally synonymous with the metal. For centuries, the Cypriots, a sophisticated people influenced by Near Eastern and Aegean cultures, mastered their craft. They developed a unique and efficient method. They would mine the rich ore, smelt it in furnaces fanned by the constant Mediterranean winds, and cast it into distinctive shapes, most famously, the oxhide ingot. These were rectangular slabs of pure copper with four corner extensions, designed for easy transport and stacking in a ship's hull. These ingots were the universal currency of the age. Archaeologists have found them in shipwrecks all across the Mediterranean seafloor and in the treasuries of Egyptian pharaohs and Hittite kings. This is where Cyprus transformed from a producer into a geopolitical giant. It didn't just sell copper, it controlled the pipeline. The island sat at the perfect crossroads. To its south, the great kingdoms of Egypt and the Levant. To its north and west, the rising powers of the Hittites and the Mycenaeans. Cyprus, or Alatia as it was known in ancient diplomatic letters, played them all. Correspondence found in Egypt shows the pharaohs writing to the king of Alatia not as a subordinate, but as a peer, negotiating for shipments of this copper of the mountains. They traded it for silver, ivory, luxury goods, and political favor. The island became fabulously wealthy and fiercely independent, a neutral trading hub whose economic clout gave it protection. You didn't invade your primary fuel source. But the true testament to the Cypriot Copper Empire is found in its absence. Around 1200 BCE, the late Bronze Age collapse hit. It was a perfect storm of invasion, climate change, and systemic failure. Palaces burned, trade routes disintegrated, and literacy vanished across the region. And in the middle of this chaos, something fascinating happened on Cyprus. Instead of collapsing, its major cities, like Komi and Kition, fortified themselves. They built walls not of stone, but of sheer economic necessity. Because even in a world falling apart, everyone still needed copper. The demand for tools and weapons in a time of chaos may have even spiked. Cyprus, for a critical period, became a life raft of technology and stability, its influence enduring even as the grand empires around it crumbled into a dark age. It's a profound lesson in leverage. Cyprus wielded not military might, but resource intelligence. They understood what the world needed to function, and they positioned themselves, quite literally, at the center of that need. They fueled the art, the agriculture, and the armies of an entire era from their rocky shores. It makes you look at the modern world and wonder, what is our copper? What single, physical resource is so fundamental that it defines alliances, sparks conflicts, and builds fortunes? The echoes of that ancient, copper-based power still resonate in how our world works today. This has been Echoes of the Ancients, a production of Light Knot Studios. Find more stories from the depths of history at https://www.lightknotstudios.com.